Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our boarding school open house for 2020. We have a number of families who will be joining us this morning, so we're just going to give it a minute to allow everybody to join in to this Zoom webinar. Appreciate the students who have joined us today this morning. For those of you not in our time zone, it's 8 o'clock in the morning here in Toronto. We've had our first little bit of snow, though I'm happy to report it is not on the ground right now. We're really excited. We've got families joining us from all over the world. So I'm saying good morning to those of you in North America and in the Caribbean. I'm saying good afternoon to the families who are joining us from Europe. And I'm saying good evening to the families who are joining us from Asia. So it is a pleasure to have everybody here today. We're just going to give it a few more minutes while we let everybody log in, particularly with the time difference. It's going to take a little bit of time to get everybody on the call and organized. So thank you so much for being a part of today. For those of you who are looking at Havergal for the first time, this is actually our very first boarding school open house. So we're quite excited to have this opportunity to meet with families who are keen to get to know Havergal and learn all about our fantastic boarding school and Havergal College in general. Okay. Just waiting to see if a few more people are ready to join us. And as we move through our presentation today, you'll notice there's a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Please do ask questions in that Q&A box. The purpose of today is to really make sure you have a sense of all that Havergal has to offer. And the admission team is always here to answer questions. But today's a great opportunity for you to ask questions of the students that are on the panel, of our head of boarding, and our associate head and head of senior school. So it looks like we've leveled off with our numbers, so I think we'll get started. For those of you I haven't met before, my name is Maggie Houston-White, and I'm the Executive Director of Strategic Enrollment Management. And what that means is I oversee the recruitment, admission, and retention process of students here at the school. It's important for us at Havergal that you have a smooth journey from the very first time you call our office interested in Havergal for your daughter, right through to your daughter's graduation and when she is inducted into our Old Girls Society. So it is a pleasure for me to get to know students from JK right through to grade 12. And I'm also very fortunate in that I get to know our boarding students very well, particularly as I've been afforded the opportunity to travel and to meet our boarding students in their home countries. Today, you'll hear from Ms. Laura Franks, who is our head of boarding, Serena Wu, our boarder captain, Lindsay Norberg, who's the associate head and head of senior school, as well as Emily McConney, our admission ambassador. She's coming to you live from Barbados, so we were delighted that she could join us today. And Emily Sims-Brown, our Director of Admission, who will talk to you a little bit about the admission process. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Laura Franks, our head of boarding. And Laura, we're just going to get you to unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Terrific.
Right. And as you mentioned, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, in whatever part of the world that you're in these days. Welcome to our very first boarding open house. I'm also extremely excited that we have the opportunity to meet with you in this way. Some of the positive things about pandemics is that even though we are all far apart, it actually has been allowing us to get closer together over the last 6 months, connecting with our families via Zoom, with our parents, and obviously with some of our students like Emily, who are still abroad. Next screen, please. So the overarching philosophy of boarding is that we are a supportive team of individuals that look towards really supporting your daughters in their achievement academically, in their personal growth, and also in their social relationships and friendships that they develop while they're here at the school. We do this by promoting student agency. Our students are very involved in the boarding program, in developing what we do in boarding and having a good, strong voice about what that looks like for them and how they want to see their world. We also have strong connections with our faculty and our health and wellness staff. We have a great support of nurses, lead nurses, as well as guidance and social workers who help to support your students while they're here in boarding. And of course, a big piece of all of this is collaboration with our parents and parent community. Our goal is for your daughter to come out of Havergal College as a well-rounded individual, a person who's able to manage themselves, and that they're empowered to positively influence their world and their community as they move forward on into their post-Havergal experience. Next slide, please. As Ms. Houston-White mentioned, our boarding team is made up of a variety of people, including our associate head and head of senior school, myself, the head of boarding. We also have a fabulous staff of 5 boarding dons who work directly on the floors with the girls in terms of giving them guidance, direction, making sure they get to meals on time, being able to talk with them when they have any issues or concerns. And obviously our academic wellness and support teams. Ms. Norberg will talk a little bit more about the academic program in the senior school and what's involved in that. Next slide, please. As well, we have a really strong leadership team in our student body in boarding. You'll hear in a moment from Serena Wu, our boarder captain, our boarder prefect, and we also have a head junior don and then junior dons. And this year we instituted a new position, junior dons in training. We're trying to make sure that students have an opportunity for leadership within the boarding school, as well as to make sure that we have all grades 9 to 12 represented on the leadership team. This student leadership team this year has taken on an extremely active role in developing the programming and boarding, as it is a very different year from years past. We're doing much more on programming on campus, and they've been actively involved in making sure that those things happen. Next slide. Well-being has been a focus of our school in the past, and it's become a very direct focus as we've moved forward into this year. Well-being has always been a focus of the boarding community. We're looking at helping to make sure that the students are supported in their social emotional learning, as well as obviously in their cognitive functionings, making sure they have support for their academics, courses that they're doing. For some of our grade 12 students, the support can be in this year, especially in terms of university applications, helping them write their essays, being advisors to them and referees for their applications. And we also make sure that the students have a very strong physical program as well. We have a number of facilities you'll see shortly in our video, our fitness center, our swimming pool, rock climbing wall. We also have a beautiful 22-acre campus. Even though we're in the heart of downtown Toronto, we have lots of outdoor space for our students to be able to get outside, get fresh air, and be out in nature, even though we are downtown. Next slide, please. A big part of boarding is our community and our connections. This is actually a photo from last year. This year we're a little further apart and wearing masks, not quite so close together. But nonetheless, we still develop that spirit of togetherness, of supporting one another through a variety of activities. We have Monday and Wednesday nights, we have community nights and house and family meetings where students get together to talk about upcoming events in the week or concerns that they might have. This is also the time that we deliver our social emotional learning program in the boarding house. We also have evening and weekend activities and workshops. And co-curricular activities, which normally are held before and after school in most years, but with our current situation, those are actually occurring during the school days. So students still have the opportunity to participate in those activities. We have special dinners in boarding, some of the traditional holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas. We also do Lunar New Year's. We have birthday celebrations for every student. And in normal years, we also plan activities with the other boarding schools in the Toronto area. And hopefully when we get through this pandemic, we'll be able to continue with some of those activities. Unfortunately, they've just been on hold for this current year. Next slide, please. Connecting with parents and giving support to parents is a big part of boarding. I think for families, it's a transition when you just choose to send your daughter to boarding, transition for the student, but also transition for the parent. So we do offer a lot of support to our boarding parents. We have a parent guardian orientation in September. We did this virtually this year and it worked fairly well. I also hold weekly meetings with our parent community. It's a standing meeting where parents are able to join in. And although there's no set agenda, we talk about whatever the current issues are, questions that parents might have. And I started these last March when we went into lockdown. And I found that it was a great way to connect with our parents and a great opportunity for our parents to also connect with each other. We also do, for our new students coming into boarding, their family dawn, who's the dawn that's assigned to a small group of students. That dawn does regular check-ins with those students every day, but we also do a month into the program check-in where they then get in touch with the parents to just let you know how their daughter is doing. I also send a weekly email on Sundays to our parents just to update them with what's been going on in the week. In the normally December, but January and June, we also send out border reports, and this will be a little bit more in-depth description of what your daughter's been doing from the perspectives of the Dons as well as myself. And we have a boarding newsletter that is up on our website 3 to 4 times a year. Next slide, please. I'd like to introduce to you our border captain, Serena Wu, who will speak to you a little bit about her experience in boarding.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Serena, and I'm a grade 12 boarder from Hong Kong. I am also the boarding school captain, as Ms. Franks mentioned, for the 2021 school year. As a boarding school captain, I represent my boarding friends in the larger school community. Other than leading my wonderful junior dons team in boarding to organize fun and engaging activities, a big part of my role as captain is to encourage diversity and inclusiveness in both the boarding and day school environment. When I was 10 years old, I told my parents that I wanted to attend Havergal after touring the campus and a few other boarding schools in Toronto. During my tour of the day school, I was able to observe girls in their classes and visit Havergal's facilities and classrooms. I was drawn to the good classroom atmosphere, and I knew I would love it here at Havergal. Deciding to attend a boarding school was not a hard decision for me at all, and thankfully my parents were really supportive of my decision as well. I was eager to experience different things independently and be connected with people of different cultural backgrounds, but little did I know, I learned a lot more than what I expected to. Havergal has a large variety of clubs and the freedom for students to start any clubs of their desire. In day school, I participated in the debate club, astrology club, and community partnerships. I also participated in math contests and competed with the Havergal's Model United Nations. All these experiences made me more comfortable in challenging normalized ideas and polished my oral communication skills. This is my 4th year at Havergal, and I've been constantly surrounded by wonderful people. I've made lifelong friends in both the day school and boarding. I still remember one year I was rooming with a girl who had a completely different sleeping schedule as I did. I slept really late and she slept really early, and she couldn't sleep with any lights or any noises on, so I would always leave the room at night to study in the common room, trying to make the least disturbance. But eventually this started to affect our relationship as roommates, and I was really frustrated because she was one of my best friends. I spoke to one of the dons that I trusted the most at the time, and her advice for me was that we lacked the communication. I then went to my roommate, talked everything out, and we made a plan, made compromises from both of us, and gladly everything went back to normal very soon. It is a rough time for boarding members to get to know each other as well as we did in previous years, as we are separated into different cohorts and we have to follow social distancing regulations. I try my best as boarding captain to reach out to the new girls. Havergal's unique buddy system set itself apart from other boarding schools in Toronto, providing one-on-one support for new girls. This year, we made a little change to this buddy system so that a buddy is assigned to a junior don, rather than boarders signing up to be buddies as we did in previous years. This ensured that all new girls would receive help from the girls who know boarding's rules and regulations the best, and those who are voted by the boarding community based on their good qualities. In the past few months of being a boarder prefect, I have worked on my leadership and time management skills, and I also developed skills to think creatively and the confidence to meet problems with an informed voice. Havergal was an academically rigorous school and filled with smart and well-rounded girls. Ever since middle school, I've been passionate about social justice and issues around the world. After coming to Havergal, I was able to participate in different clubs and was exposed to different fields of expertise from different classes. That's how I decided to take all social science classes after grade 10. Practicing my writing skills, presentation skills, and research skills in these classes definitely equips me with the necessary skills to step into my new chapter of my academic life. Lastly, I feel particularly proud to be a Havergal student because Havergal has been making constant improvements and self-reflecting upon its decisions and activities. Also, I believe that Havergal does the best job of educating students to be innovative and inclusive. Thanks for listening. I'd like to introduce Ms. Norberg.
Thank you, Serena. My name is Lindsay Norberg, and I'm the associate head, which means that I look after the well-being of students from kindergarten to grade 12, but I'm also the head of the senior school. Thank you, Serena. You highlight so well the work that you have done, making the new girls feel comfortable, those who have come from close to Havergal and those who have come from a long distance. And your leadership in the boarding school this year has been exceptional in terms of enabling us to have a really warm, inviting community, even with some of the COVID protocols that we need to have in place. So we really appreciate the work that you've been doing. Ms. Houston-White, if you can just switch the slide to the next slide. I want to talk about three things, and I'm going to start with academics and then look at the well-being and then the way students get engaged in the senior school beyond the classroom. And Serena has highlighted many of these things very well already for me, but Havergal has a liberal arts education. And what this means is that there's a really strong breadth and depth to the program that we deliver. It really it's an education that allows students to pursue their passions, and it means that when they move on past Havergal College, they will really have the breadth and the depth for whatever the passions they have that they choose to pursue. It really opens up possibilities for them, and as they get older and move through the years at senior school, the possibilities become more and more open, and there's more choice for them. At Havergal, our education is strong in all disciplines: science, mathematics, humanities, literature, language, technology, the arts. We've opened up a brand new, beautiful art spaces, yes, on Monday. And so the students are just exploring these new spaces, but it's a wonderful new space that we're really looking forward to watching the artists as they explore it. In all courses, students are taught by subject specialists who absolutely love their subjects. At Havergal, the goal isn't to race through the curriculum or courses or to get advanced or be beyond your years. The 4 years in senior school will fly by fast enough. Instead, we encourage students to take courses, for the most part, at their grade level and within the academic program that's designed by the Ontario curriculum. But in those courses, we then give students the opportunities to explore complex concepts and issues in ways that they can understand. We also help them make connections to things that they are interested in and the issues that are existing in the world at the same time. In grade 9 and 10, students take a breadth of academic courses that allow them to learn from different disciplines and topics. When they go into grade 11, there are then greater choices and more opportunities to choose what we refer to as elective courses at that point. We offer AP courses, but we really find that our focus on a liberal arts education and the focus on the process of learning instead of the outcome benefits students to the greatest extent. We find that although there are some key AP courses, there's a wonderful AP research course that students are doing right now, where they're getting involved in different projects. And there are particular AP courses that students really do thrive in. But for the most part, we do find that students identify that the AP courses focus more on outcomes and coverage of material and take away from their opportunity to explore other passions or other aspects of their academics as they go through their time at senior school. We have an incredible guidance department that supports students from the moment they become Havergal students with their grade 9 course selection right through to the university selection process. The counselors really counsel students to keep their options open so that as they grow and learn and develop as students, they always have the options that they might choose later on in their time at Havergal. At Havergal, education is really about developing a culture of thinking. In each discipline, students are taught how to inquire by asking questions, interrogating ideas, identifying different points of view, listening to others, reflecting on the learning process, and navigating feedback. Grade 9 students, if we could have you walk down the halls of Havergal right now, you could find them making decisions about sustainable economic development opportunities in Canada's Arctic, or studying the scientific inquiry skills to determine how do we know about the universe and how do we know how it was formed and the way it works. Students are able to focus on articulating what they're learning and why they're learning it. And learning at Havergal is really about developing the skills and the depth to be lifelong learners. We really want students not only to have the university opportunities that are part of their dreams, but for them to be successful in those opportunities as they go beyond Havergal. The other thing you'll find about academics at Havergal, it's really about building a community of learning. And students are part of this incredible community. In the classrooms, you would walk down the halls and you would find groups of students sitting or standing as they work through problems together. Maybe a student standing up at a whiteboard trying to solve a math problem with her friend standing there beside her, coaxing her on and encouraging her. Or you might find groups of students engaged in whole group discussions and working together. We've had to make a lot of adjustments because of COVID this year, but they're important adjustments because they ensure that our community is healthy and we've been able to be back at school 5 days a week, and we've been successful so far since the first day of school. But we did set forward some key priorities. Beyond being at school 5 days a week, we have been able to offer all of our academic courses, and students are masked and they are in smaller classes. And we're really lucky to have this new wing and have more space that's just opened up to us, which is going to enable us to even provide more opportunities as this year goes along. Ms. Houston-White, if we just switch to the next slide. So, although the academic program at Havergal is unparalleled, it's actually the many other opportunities at Havergal that I think sets Havergal apart and makes it such an exceptional experience for students. As Ms. Franks already said, well-being is a key component of a Havergal education because these are the skills that will enable these students to take their academics and really thrive into the future. It wraps around everything. Our objective with well-being is to give students the tools to thrive, succeed academically, be resilient, and be agile. And they have really demonstrated this so far this school year. We want to make sure students are equipped with the skills to manage their emotions, social relationships, develop executive functioning skills to be able to manage their work as well. There's time every day for specific well-being programming, and it's grade-based, so it's very developmentally appropriate. In particular, as we return to school after a prolonged closure, we've really focused on social emotional relationships and providing opportunities for students to connect with each other. So this could involve playing games to get to know each other, or role playing about how to build relationships with new students. It could be guided meditation or journaling about hope and gratitude as we reflect on our experiences so far this year. Yesterday, we had one of our learning support specialists working with a group of students about how to load their school email and calendar onto their phone, really practical technology tips that enable them to organize their time and be successful. Every student at Havergal is part of an advisory group, and this is a group of 10 to 12 students that meets every single day with a teacher advisor. And this is a key person who will be with the student as they go through their entire 4 years at Havergal and gets to know them very well. And they really ensure that every student is well known and feels very valued within the school. Our advisor groups are situated in something that we call houses. And if you're familiar with the Harry Potter books, that might be the best parallel to have an understanding of what our house system is about. Where our students in kindergarten to grade 12 are each identified into one of Havergal's 10 houses. And this is another structure we have to build a community in a relatively big school, but enable students to feel connected from JK to grade 12 and to build these relationships. In each of these houses, there are student leaders similar to Serena in the boarding school that will then also lead activities and provide leadership to that group and help students get connected. Another part of our well-being program is prayers. We meet every week as a grade 7 to grade 12 community. Right now, we're meeting over Zoom, but in regular times, we will meet in the beautiful Brenda Robson Hall, which is named after a woman who led in tremendous ways at Havergal for many years. Havergal is an Anglican school, and we are founded in our Anglican traditions. Those students of all faiths are welcome, and our prayers are very much designed to be open and inclusive, and to be an opportunity for students to learn about each other and to learn about different opportunities. Part of prayers is the gorgeous music that is part of it. Some days when I'm sitting in prayers, I think to myself, my goodness, this is my job. I get to come here every week and to listen to this beautiful music performed for the most part by students who will prepare to deliver this music and perform in front of us. There will be student speakers, faculty speakers, guest speakers that will come in. We will celebrate traditional holidays. We will acknowledge significant events such as Holocaust Education Week or Remembrance Day. And of course, one of the students' favorite part of prayers is the incredible videos that they prepare for other students to participate in. As the slide here highlights, there are lots of other supports for students at Havergal beyond just a teacher advisor. Each student has a guidance counselor who will give them specific academic support as well as social emotional support. We have a learning support department as well for any students who have identified learning issues that they need to have particular accommodations with. And we also have a school social worker. Yes, next slide, please. A typical day at Havergal. So a typical day at Havergal, Ms. Franks has already highlighted some of this, but students at Havergal, especially in senior school, have a lot of choice in terms of what they participate in. Before school starts, there's a myriad of practices for sports teams or rehearsals for different music groups that take place. I know boarders will sneak in breakfast in that time as well. And then they will go to morning classes. We will have what we refer to as this community time where we participate in house activities, advisory, prayers, or different assemblies or guest speakers. The students then have their lunch hour, but they are often busy in that lunchtime as well with different clubs or meetings or rehearsals. And they do try to find some free time with their friends to sit in the dining room and chit chat and enjoy each other's company as well. In the afternoon, they have classes again. And at the end of the day, again, there's quite a myriad of practices, games, rehearsals, and different clubs that students participate in. I mean, similar to what I've just highlighted, one of the most exceptional things about Havergal is the broad breadth of activities that are available for students to participate in. And as I've tried to highlight already is that senior school is really about choice and about students exploring their passions. And there is great opportunities for students to both try things that are brand new to them. Maybe they'd like to try a sports team they've never done before, or maybe they'd like to explore different aspects of the arts or clubs or community partnerships. And at the same time, there's the depth in this programming for when they become experts in an area and really want to be part of a incredible chamber choir or a highly competitive basketball team. So both of those opportunities exist. There are a variety of clubs. Some are more fun, informal clubs that happen on Tuesdays at lunch. They are student-led. Others are competitive clubs, like DECA, which is our business club, or Model United Nations, where students participate with other schools on a variety of international issues, or our debating team, or our science club. So we've got our competitive clubs, and then our more fun Tuesday lunchtime clubs. There are many excursions at Havergal as well. Some of those are aligned with programs. So the band or the music department may go off on a retreat to really build the skills that those students need for their program throughout the year, or they may go on a drama retreat in preparation for a school play or musical, or off on a debating competition. At the same time, we have an incredible exchange program where students in grade 10 will go off to a variety of countries: France, Germany, Argentina, Australia. Unfortunately, this program is on pause at the moment, but typically students will apply in the spring of their grade 9 year, and they will go off for a portion of their grade 10 year and then host a student as they return in their grade 10 year. And then there's other department excursions. For example, the French department has been taking students to Nice in France, where they've been taking cooking classes, or our politics class actually goes to Ottawa just for the day to meet with different Canadian politicians and lobbyists, get a sense of what Canada's government is like, and get a feeling for it as well. There's many opportunities for leadership at Havergal, and some of this is formal leadership, like you've heard Serena speak about already, or less formal leadership. Students will choose where their passions for leadership are. Is it in their house program? Do they want to lead as part of their grade? Is it a club they want to lead? Is there a community partnership where they're connecting with an outside organization where they want to lead? One of the wonderful things about COVID actually is that due to our split schedule, which means we have the grade 7, 8s, and 9s on one schedule and the 10s, 11s, and 12s on another schedule, we needed our grade 9 students to really step up as student leaders this year, and they have. They are leading house activities and clubs, and so I'm going to be really interested to see what we learn from this opportunity that we've given the grade 9s and what we might take from that going forward in the future. So as I've tried to highlight here, that we got quite a variety of academic experiences. Well-being is a key component that supports the academics and really ensures students can thrive. But so is the life beyond Havergal's classroom that enables students to further develop their passions and follow and pursue those things that they are very interested in. I'd now like to introduce Emily, one of our other wonderful boarders, who's going to speak about her experience.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Emily, and I am currently a grade 11 boarder from Barbados. I'm here to talk to you about what it's like being a new boarder at Havergal. I came to Havergal in grade 10 just 1 year ago, and despite me only being here for 1 year, I feel like I have a second family, and I have made such strong friendships within that short space of time. Choosing a school is a very hard decision to make, and for me, coming from another country, it was crucial that I choose a school that had an environment that would make me feel safe and be my family away from home, and this was Havergal. I remember touring the school a year or so prior to applying, and while touring the day school thinking, wow, out of all the schools that I've toured, I've never felt so welcomed, as every hallway I walked through, everyone smiled at me, not even knowing who I was. Then I toured boarding, and I instantly knew that this was the place for me. Why? Well, first of all, boarding is upstairs to the day school, and coming from a warm climate and it being my first time fully experiencing the long Canadian winters, this was great, as I did not have to go outside to get to and from my room. Secondly, I liked the size of the rooms being bigger than most boarding school rooms I had looked at. And finally, I loved the homey environment that was given off as I walked through boarding. An additional factor in reassuring me that this was the place for me was that the Havergal community reinforces women in leadership. And this really appealed to me because I believe that women should be encouraged, allowed to pursue, and be equally recognized in anything that they do. The first week of school at Havergal can be very overwhelming, as there's a lot going on from orientation to picture day, the start of classes, meeting your teachers, and on top of all of that, meeting the people in your grade. I know, it sounds like a lot, but it's a really fun experience both in boarding and day school, and there's always people there helping you along the way, making you feel welcomed and included. I found making friends at Havergal very easy, both within day school and boarding, as the girls at this school are very friendly and inclusive. Havergal has come up with great ways to integrate new girls into the school through having a buddy system both within day school and boarding, so you automatically have at least one person helping you along the way. As well as the buddy system, another great way to integrate into the community is through clubs, activities, and teams. And Havergal has a ton of them, as Ms. Norberg said. I joined cross country in DECA, a business club, during my first year, and I was able to make friends with people both in my grade, but also in other grades as well. The teachers at Havergal are very supportive and understanding. They go above and beyond to make sure that you understand what's going on in class, and the way that they teach is very inclusive for all different learning styles. Within boarding, we have Dons who are like your parents away from home. This was a new concept for me, but an easy one to adjust to, as all the Dons were always there to support me. I found it really easy to talk to them about what was going on, as the environment they created made it easy for me to open up. Last year, we transitioned into having a new head of boarding, Mrs. Franks. And despite her coming in at a funny time of the year, she always made me feel comfortable enough to bring my problems and concerns to her, or even just have a friendly conversation, and she still does. My experience at Havergal continues to change, as this year the pandemic has changed everyone's lives. I am currently not able to be in Canada as a result of the pandemic, but I still feel included in the community through the virtual prayers and other activities, as well as their amazing remote learning program, which keeps me connected and up to date with classes, as well as being a part of them. Havergal continues to reassure me that I made the right decision coming here, and I am proud to call myself a Gator. Thank you. We will now watch the boarding video.
Hi everybody, my name is Serena and I'm a grade 12 boarder from Hong Kong. I'm also the boarder prefect of the 2021 school year.
Hi everyone, my name is Vicky and I'm the head junior don for this year. I'm also a grade 12 boarder from Jamaica.
We are here to welcome you on a virtual tour of boarding. Unfortunately this year we can't take you on an in-person tour of boarding, but we hope that you find this video informative and are able to see what boarding at Havergal looks like.
Now we're going to hand it over to Madison Yang.
Hi, I'm Madison and I'm a grade 10 boarder from Canada. This is my second year at Havergal Boarding and today I'll be the guide for your virtual tour around Havergal Boarding.
Our boarding school is on the top floor of the school, so it's very convenient for us to go to school every day. We also get to use a lot of amazing facilities here on campus. We have great outdoor facilities on campus such as the Lisa Hardy Trail, the Ratcliffe Field, and the tennis courts. Many of our activities on the weekends take place in these green spaces. My favorite spot on the campus is the Lisa Hardy Trail because it feels like a mini forest in the city. I feel calm and refreshed while taking a stroll along the trail. When the weather starts to get colder outside, we use the inside athletic facilities. For indoor athletic facilities, we have a swimming pool, two gyms, a rock climbing wall, a fitness center, and other sports equipment that we can use. Here we are in the common rooms. Due to the COVID-19 protocol, boarding is divided into cohorts based on grades, and the cohort has its common rooms. All of our common rooms are fully equipped with snacks and furniture that allows us to come into the area to talk with our friends, to relax, or make midnight snacks. Once a week, each grade will gather in their common room area and talk about their week or have emotional learning sessions with their boarding dons. The grade 9 cohort is in the south wing of the building. their common room is part of the original boarding common room. The grade 10 cohort is in the east wing of the building, sharing the other half of the common room with the grade 9s. The grade 11 cohort is on the 4th floor of boarding, with their common room belonging to the same floor. And then the grade 12 cohort is in the west wing of the building, with their common room in the same area. This year, everyone on board gets to have their own bedroom. We love our bedrooms since we can decorate it how we want. This makes our bedroom a very homely and relaxing space. We also have a great dining hall, where we gather every morning and evening for breakfast and dinner. The Dons will check our well-being during breakfast to ensure that everyone is well for the day. Normally, students gather in the dining hall for lunches, but due to COVID, we have to put a halt to this tradition. Havergal is also known for its delicious food. The kitchen staff also try their best to create food to remind us of home. My favorite meal is the Friday special dinner, where the boarding students get to vote what dinner they want to have. We have had dumplings, lasagna, or even pizza for dinner. Any special dinners such as Lunar New Year, Christmas dinner, or Thanksgiving are always held in the dining hall along with the food cooked by our staff. Besides the support we get from the teachers in day school, the boarding school Dons are also very kind and supportive to us. They also make us feel safe because they are always in the building or on campus. The boarding Dons usually organize weekly activities with the junior Dons for us to bond together as a community. With the school campus, we can have activities outside, inside, and the varieties of the activities range from arts, crafts, sports, or even workshops.
Boarding at Havergal is like gaining 50 more siblings. We live together, eat together, and study together.
With the pandemic going on, the school's been doing a great job in keeping us safe, and boarding has created many memorable experiences for us. I hope this tour gave you more insight into what boarding is like.
Thank you for joining the tour.
Bye!
Emily, perhaps you could speak now to the admission process and what families can expect.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as everyone has said. Welcome. My name's Emily Sims-Brown, and I'm the Director of Admission, and I have the amazing part of my job is working with many of our boarding families. So I've had the pleasure of traveling abroad with and representing Havergal for the last 6 years of my time at Havergal. And as Serena was talking, I remembered when Serena was looking at Havergal and meeting her in Hong Kong. And for whatever reason, I'll never forget that. And Serena, I should probably send you the photo we took of each other because you've grown quite a bit since then. And it's really wonderful to see you now in grade 12 and the border captain too. So it's really fun seeing that come full circle, which is such a privilege for me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the admission process. It's all done online. So everything is done through our website and our portal. So I'll give you a couple of recommendations and tips here as you go through the process. So when you go to our website, you'll go to the boarding section and there's a how to apply for boarding school. And everything that is listed here on our presentation is also listed on our website. So we do ask for a photo, and that's just so we can get to know your daughter before we interview her. Previous 2 years report cards, so 2018-19 and 2019-20. Those can be uploaded right directly onto our portal. We ask for a copy of her birth certificate or passport, and that's just to make sure that she's going into the correct grade. Sometimes with international applicants, there can be some differences in start of school year, so that's really helpful for us. There's a parent and a student questionnaire. So my tip here is that you download these sections. So there is a way to download this into a Word document from our portal and take your time to answer those questionnaires for both parents and your daughters. Our system does time out after about 15 minutes. So it's important that you take your time and then cut and paste those answers back into our portal. There's a couple of additional pieces of information. There's a confidential applicant report, and that's a document that can be sent directly to your daughters, whether it's a current teacher or a past teacher. So That just gives us a little more insight into where she's at academically. Sometimes report cards from really all over the world, they don't always give us a full picture of the student. So this really helps round out the profile. If you're looking at applying for a scholarship, they're all listed on our website. There's a number of them, so I'd encourage you to go through, and that application is also filled out on our portal system. So when you go through the application, you'll see a checkbox if you'd like to apply for a scholarship. In terms of financial assistance, we are really, we're thrilled to be able to offer financial assistance to anyone applying to grade 7 and above. So boarding starts in grade 9, but we are able to offer that. And that is done through a third party called Apple Financial. So their website is listed on our website. It's applefinancialservices.ca. And they actually ask for a number of documents, and they then let Havergal know the amount of aid you qualify for. That process can take some time. So if you are looking to apply for financial assistance, I would recommend getting that started as soon as you can. In terms of when we accept applications, we start usually accepting applications in September. So we're already accepting boarding applications. We're on a rolling basis, so there is no deadline. But once we're full, we're full. So if you're thinking about applying, I would encourage you to do so. Typically, our first round of offers goes out mid-December. If you're thinking about it, it would be great to get that started. Another piece of information I'd like to address is the assessment. So for international applicants, we do ask for the SSAT. That's an important piece for us. As well, if English isn't your first language or your daughter's first language, we would ask for the IELTS or the TOEFL test. So that just helps us give a little more insight into her English abilities if English isn't her primary language. So that's sort of it. If you're applying domestically and the SSAT is not available, please let our admission office know, and we will look at an alternative. I think that's it in terms of the admission process. I'm going to pass it back to you, Maggie, and we can talk about how we stay connected with our families.
Thanks so much, Emily, and thank you so much to everybody who spoke today. I've been at Havergal, this is my 20th year, and boarding is such an important part of our school. And I think all of our speakers really touched on what makes Havergal such a special place and what makes boarding such a special place. It's the incredibly dedicated faculty and staff that look after our students. It is the community feel to Havergal. It is a student body who is exceptional. When we think of our mission, which is to prepare young women to make a difference, the Havergal students who come to the school are already quite prepared to make a difference, and they make a difference here within this building. And we are just thrilled when they graduate and go on to careers and adventures that allow them to make a difference globally. So thank you to everybody for speaking today. As you go through this admission process, please know that we're here. We want to stay connected to you. If you visit our virtual admission center, you will find webinars and podcasts on different information that will be helpful to you. You can always book a Zoom meeting or phone call with us. And of course, follow us on social media. As Emily said, boarding admission is done on a rolling basis, but we do give priority to applications received by December 1st. So we do encourage you to apply as soon as possible. We did have a couple of questions that popped into the chat, including how many spaces do we have at each grade level? So we do take boarding students in at grade 9, 10, and 11. Grade 9 is our biggest entry point with 8 to 10 spaces available in grade 9. We take in another 6 students or so in grade 10. And in grade 11, we take in 4 to 6 boarding students. So it is quite limited. Our boarding school is deliberately small, as both Emily and Serena spoke about. It allows us to have a very family type atmosphere. It allows girls to have rooms that are large and bright and airy. And it allows for us to ensure that we are taking the very best students into our boarding school that we are fortunate to receive applications from worldwide. we've just hit the 45-minute mark, which was to mark the end of our time. I do want to encourage you, if you do have further questions, please put them in the chat. I see one has come in about the location of Havergal. And as Laura mentioned off the top, we're located right in the heart of Midtown Toronto. And so we're only 20 minutes from the Toronto International Airport, which is really fantastic for families who are coming from abroad. It's very easy for our students to get to Havergal from the airport, and there are many, many direct flights to Toronto. And I know our students appreciate that. As they, particularly when they first come to Havergal, but also in the ease of families coming to visit, and in their travel back and forth at Christmas time and at March break. So thank you for that question. It looks like that's about the end of our time. So to our panel, to Ms. Franks, our head of boarding, to Emily McConney, our admission ambassador, to Lindsay Norberg, our associate head and head of senior school, to Serena, our border captain, Emily Sims Brown, our director of admission. I'm looking forward to seeing the picture of the two of you before Serena came. Thank you all for being here today. And to our families, our potential Havergal families, we look forward to welcoming you and your daughter into our community. Thanks so much for being here today.